If I can go back in time, these are a few things I would tell myself entering my 30s, hell, maybe even my 20s, to be honest. That would have saved me a lot of time, a lot of peace, a lot of heartache and headache. Jeez, a lot of headache that I want to drop on you. As I'm getting closer to exiting my 40s, I realize that I could save you from a lot of the stress, the peace, the time, and heartache and headache. So, welcome to the Dope Life Podcast. Today, I'm going to start off by giving you 10 lessons that I have learned in my 30s that could probably save you a lot. And I hope that you save this, send this to people, write them down so that you don't make these mistakes. And I don't want to hear nobody come back to me and say, well, coach, you didn't tell me. I'm telling you now at 37. All right. So let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. Like I said, I'm 37 years old. I'm born in the 88 year. And I think I can confidently say that I've been a little bit more wise beyond my years. A lot of people think I'm a bit older. I look young, but the way I speak and carry myself, I've been told many times that, yo, I thought you were older than me, or I thought you just seem very mature. Perhaps I'm just the way I am based off the fact of how I've been, as people say, yeah, brought up, see, but just the way I was raised. But I've been able to not make the same mistakes that a lot of people have made that are ahead of me because I talk to them. Honestly, when you talk to people who are older than you will gain a lot of gems. Every person that is older than me, I always ask what kind of piece of advice you can give me at the age that I'm at. And man, I kid you not, 9 times out of 10, they're like, boy, oh boy, like, got time? And they give me some really, really good gems. And it's an honor to pass these on to you so that you don't make the same mistakes that I once did and how you could protect yourself and live in a life of peace. So grab a notepad or you could save this, but send it to yourself in an email because this is going to save you a lot. Let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. All right. So lesson number one, set standards. And don't let anybody ever try to tell you that your standards are too high. If they're too high, that means they can't meet them. Move on. That's just how I see it. There are people in your life that will be able to meet the standards that you are, right? Like I understand like some people may have high standards as well, but if you're going to have high standards too, you also have to implement them also in your life. I said what I said. You could have all the high standards you want that you have for other people that you want to have around you and the connections that you want to have, but you also have to implement themselves. You have to be a mirror of those things that you are setting, right? You have to be a mirror of those things that you want to attract in your life. Because if you're setting the standards, but you're not actually implementing them also in your life, it's kind of a waste of time for that person and yourself. So the first lesson is most definitely set the standards. And the way that you could do that is it leads into one of the steps, but write down a couple non-negotiables that you are not going to rock no matter what. You're not going to move. You will stand firm on that. But I don't want you to think of non-negotiables that you're doing to like attract a mate or nothing like that. I want you to think of non-negotiables that you'll have for yourself. What are some of the non-negotiables no matter what? It could just be like one, two, or three. So a small number, under five, that you're going to set no matter what. And no one is going to tear you off of that. But also give yourself grace if life be life and people be peopling. That those are the three non-negotiables that you go back to get back to where you need to be. You know what I mean? Lesson number two. Oof, this one is like I love this one in many ways. Stop giving a fuck what people think or feel about you. It is not your business. It is their opinions, their words, their thought process. It had nothing to do with you and who you are and what you're about and where you're trying to go. Oftentimes, when a person has their own opinions about you, they are projecting their own insecurities onto you. Many times, when you're trying to grow, especially if you're a season of growth, you're going to find that your happiness is going to become someone's enemy to some degree. Your growth is going to become someone's enemy to some degree. And it may not even be the person you would ever think of. It may be someone close to you, it could be someone in passing with you, but it's very important that you do not allow them to rock you off of the things that you want to do, the dreams that you have, the aspirations that you have, the things that you're working on in that present moment, even if it's just you healing yourself and even if it's just you breaking generational paths and habits. Again, what they think or feel has nothing to do with you, but 9 times out of 10, it has everything to do with them and how they feel about themselves. They're just projecting their negativity onto you. And what's your job is to, if you acknowledge it, okay, cool, that's what you think, but not allow it to have such a great piece of weight into what you're trying to become or aspire to be. Because other people's opinions and other people's thought process could derail you off of your success. It could derail you from your life. It could derail you from your purpose. So I want you to think about the purpose that you have. And I'll say, and I've said it over and over again in many episodes, that your purpose is just for you to simply exist in your authentic self with joy, peace, and happiness. Well, happiness and joy kind of works hand in hand, but joy weighs a heavier hand. But joy, peace, and love, my mistake. Joy, peace, and love. And what gets you to that point is you choosing it. And when you finally receive peace, I kid you not, ask anyone that is living their life of peace, lives their life of authenticity, but they guard that peace like you would not believe. So I'm going to ask you again, or I'm going to say again, why would you even allow anybody to derail you off of your purpose, off of your path with their yang, 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 yang in your ears? I remember I stayed in certain situations because people said it's a good idea. And now I look back at it and I'm just like, I should have never even thought about I shouldn't even taken their advice in that moment because they're putting on what possibly happened to them into my situation. Now, it could be similar in many ways, but it's not the same. So be very cautious of who you tell your next step to. In fact, be exceptionally cautious of who you tell your next step to. Now, lesson number 3, it's kind of going back to lesson number 1, but start setting non-negotiables. Non-negotiables could be boundaries that you're using to protect yourself and protect your peace, but not just your peace, your values, and your time. When you set non-negotiables, it's not just about the other person or the environment. It's the same thing as for boundaries. It rarely even anything to do with that. It has everything to do with yourself. And it's hard sometimes because it's going to strip away environments and people that you have been so comfortable sitting in. It's hard because you may have to walk away from those toxic connections and relationships. But you can't expect growth in those environments. You can't expect peace and love and joy in those environments. It just doesn't correlate together. So by setting non-negotiables and by setting boundaries, you're allowing yourself to have that growth you've been seeking the most. Think about it as clearing up the room to create space for what is for you, what's intended for you, rather than staying in situations that will keep you and cost you your peace, your love, and your joy. And I want you to try this activity if you're open to do so. Write out one area of your life where you know your peace is being impeded and it's costing you more. Even if it's costing you a little bit, it's still costing you a lot. And start setting a non-negotiable with that. Number 4, and I will say this over and over again, starting over is not anything that's horrible. It's necessary, to be honest with you. Many of you may not know my story, but back in 2022, I was assaulted while driving the city bus. I had a plan in mind for my career on that end while building my business. So that entire plan I had went out the window, and I had to start thinking of other opportunities for myself. Starting over wasn't just needed, it was necessary. And starting over can be in our careers, our relationships, even our habits. Don't be afraid of the thought process of starting over. Welcome it sometimes. And I know that part is scary because of the risk that it holds. But I want you to think about it this way. You could spend 10 years of being afraid to start over, or you could spend 2 years starting over or starting again and see the benefits over in the span of the remaining of those 10 years. I don't know about y'all, but I will choose the option number 2 time and time and time again. Lesson number 5. This one is hard for a lot of my clients, to be honest, and I've had to adapt it. So luckily, I'm speaking from experience when I advise my clients to adapt it. Start giving yourself more grace. Ooh, even if you have to write it on a permission slip, like, when you were a kid, you would have a permission slip from school to send you on a trip and your mom had to sign it. Create your own permission slip. Use Canva. Create your own permission slip. I do it for my clients sometimes. And it's a great tool because it allows them to go back and look at that permission slip like, dang, I did sign this, didn't I? And it's a permission slip that you're making for yourself. It's a commitment that you're making to yourself. So start giving yourself more grace. I don't even know how to say this. I'm going to come a little bit more. You're doing it. I just feel like someone who's watching this is thinking and being so hard on themselves. You're doing the stuff and you're doing it. There's many people that have passed before you and they didn't do anything. And here you are doing it boldly. Here you are taking the risk. Here you are just jumping and take a leap of faith. Start giving yourself permission to feel grace, to live in grace. Because grace is also, people talk about that slow life. It starts with grace. I'm just going to say that. It starts with grace. It starts with grace. And an affirmation that you can use, it's so simple but yet powerful. I am worthy. I am doing it. I am trying. I am growing. I am enough. You say that to yourself in the mirror. If you're not there to say it in the mirror, just say it out loud. And then eventually one day when you're brushing your teeth, you say it in the mirror and you look yourself in the eyes and you say, I'm growing. I am enough. I am deserving. I am learning. Maybe I'm unlearning and I'm relearning again. Start putting more respect on your grace. You understand? Lesson number 6, protect your peace, your values, and your integrity. Kind of going back to lesson number 1, you may find yourself in situations where your peace could be kind of held in front of you, but it's your job to protect it. Your values may be in the same situation. Your integrity may be in the same situation. The decisions that you make should never cost you any of them. And this is rooted in the jobs, relationships, and the habits that could drain you. Your values, your peace, and your integrity should stay intact. That is something, again, that you got to guard for dear life. I remember recently, about a year ago, had an opportunity come to me, and I don't want to get into it, but in the end, I looked at it that the values weren't aligning. I said, sorry, unfortunately, this is just not going to work out. Could have made a lot of money. That thing about my values, I had to be able to look myself in the mirror and know that that deal was going to be sound and it was going to work for the best of me and the clients that I'm going to work with after that. And if it was going to hinder my values, hinder my integrity, disrupt my peace, no, not at all. And a great way that you can get to know your values is just Google values and look at the ones that mean the most important to you and build a life surrounding those values. Lesson number 7, slow down. I'm going to get a little bit morbid here. No matter what we do, we're all going to die one day. Now, do you want to be laying on your deathbed and say that I worked a good job? Do you want to lay on your deathbed saying that I did great at my business? Probably not. You have control over your whole life. Yeah, we got to work because we need money to survive and so on and so forth. That's a given. But there's those moments where you have a chance to slow down. And are you slowing down? Because by the time you blink, you're just like, where'd all this time go? What have I have done? What do I have to show for my time? Now, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but here's a sign to tell you, slow down, take your time. You don't got to rush anything or the process, especially when it comes towards your own healing, personal growth, self-improvement, or any other big decisions. Slow down. Life's going to happen no matter what we do here. So there's no need to rush. Even in those moments of when you slow down, you're able to find the moments of clarity. You're able to make better decisions. So slowing down is not your enemy. I know we're in the hustle culture, like go, go, go. Slowing down is not your enemy. It is absolutely necessary. Lesson number 9, failure is opportunity. Sounds kind of crazy, I know, but you've probably heard a lot of greats tell you that failure is necessary. I know Will Smith has talked about it multiple times, how he loves failure. I've learned to love failure because the failure means A, I'm doing something, and B, what's the opportunity of me doing something? What have I learned here? What can I gain to move myself forward? Don't look at failure as like the complete roadblock to everything that you've been working on. Failure could be the direction and redirection that you needed to keep going. Failure is just part of the path. It's not your enemy. It's needed and it's necessary for you to get to where you want to go and where you want to be. Lesson number 10. And I know this part's going to be hard for probably some of you 20-year-olds. And that's cool because you're not there yet. But talking to my 30-year-olds here, boring is actually peace. Sometimes we think boring is just not enough. And it could be because we are addicted to two things, either chaos or just productivity, doing something at all times. But can I please tell you something? In the midst of the silence, in the midst of what we call boring, is where your peace resides. We're constantly trying to go after peace. And when I tell my clients, like, you wanted peace, here it is in front of you. It's in the moments of boredom where you can sit for 10 minutes and just be. That's your peace, where you can look out the window and look at the trees or go for a walk or just read a book in silence. That's your peace. Why would you want to turn your back on the very thing that you've been trying to align with? Because even though it feels like boredom, those are the moments of clarity. Use it. Use it for your advantage. Remember, boring is not your enemy. It's what you need to get to where you want to go. Well, all the lessons is what you need to get to where you want to go. So I hope that you've been able to get some really good lessons out of here. There's 10 of them, but I'm sure there were some that really, really hit to you. If you're in your 20s or you're entering your 30s, shoot, even if you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s, 70s or 80s or 90s, you could probably utilize this list as well. because this list will allow you to live a life of peace, love, and joy. And ultimately, I like to call it living the dope life. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And again, I hope you're able to get some really good gems out of today. And if you're new here, don't forget to click that subscribe button. And I'll see you next week. All right. And y'all know what to do. Walk with peace, walk with love.